Thank you all for checking out this week's episode. Once again, I'm John. If you like what you heard and saw today, subscribe to our YouTube channel, find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and check out our brand new merch store with hats, coffee mugs, t-shirts, other cool stuff coming down the pipeline. Again, thank you all for support. Be safe, and see you next week. How's it going, everyone? John here, the host of Spirit Talk, and today I get to welcome the mighty Bas Rutten to the show. For those that aren't aware, Bas is a MMA world champion, UFC Hall of Famer, author, color commentator, actor, philanthropist, entrepreneur, and overall one of the main people I've always wanted to have on this podcast. And so through a mutual friend, Mike, here we are today. Bas, it's great to have you on here.
Oh, great to be here, brother. I love it.
I kind of want to kick off here, and for those, you and I were texting kind of before we locked us in, the recent movie Sound of Freedom about human trafficking and stuff. I know you have mutual friends, producers, and people involved in the film, from Tim Ballard and so on. And when I watched it the other day after you told me to go check it out, I was blown away that not only this stuff is actually happening in real time, but I guess my first question to you, and I really don't like getting into politics per se, but I'm fascinated the idea that politics have attached themselves to right and wrong. Like, if there's a side in politics, why are people upset that this is putting a light on human trafficking? Why are people mad that this film has taken 5 years to come out and finally it's out? And the fact is showing some truths and stuff what's really happening in real time, people are mad by it. It's just mind-boggling.
It's evil. There's something evil. Like, if you looked at CNN, the guy who's talking, he's interviewed, and he says it's a QAnon movie. Like you said, he makes it political. It's not political. Everybody in the world should say that is wrong. Kids, and we're talking kids from 3 years old getting raped 10 times a day. It's the most insane thing. And I think that if you come out and you say that it's, or that you don't go watch the movie, well, then you either are a pedophile or you are allowing it. It's one of the two. And I think in America, it doesn't matter if you're left or right, everybody hates them. So we got to stop this. It's a $150 billion a year industry. You go like that, it makes you sick to your stomach. It was the second time that I saw it, and I still didn't want to see the first 20 minutes. I was sitting there, oh, here we go again, because it's hard, it's heart-wrenching. It kills you, and it sees what happens to parents. And I told to my buddy when we walked outside, I go, pedophiles are going to go to this movie as well. And I guarantee you some of these guys are going to go because they never see the other side. And now they see what they do. They're ripping families apart, and they're torturing these kids and do all the crazy stuff with them. And it's amazing that even somebody has the cojones to say that, to not go see the movie. I mean, you just gave yourself away. That's what I say.
Well, it's funny because I follow I try not to, but when the articles pop up like Rolling Stone or CNN or some of these left-leaning publications, and there are some right ones out there too, which have kind of put negative reviews on it. If you're looking at it from a pure film standpoint, acting, if you want to nitpick stuff there, sure, go ahead.
Yeah.
But the central theme of this movie, the fact that Rolling Stone is saying this is a QAnon, a love fest, or it just, I don't know for you, my anger is I wish there's more I could do. And I know there's obviously organizations like Tim Ballard and other groups. I've had Dr. Lewis Lee on the podcast, and she started Children of the Night in Los Angeles. And I've had other people that have been helped fight under human trafficking and sex trafficking. And it's I don't know how to put my anger towards the benefit of the good. It's easy for me to go online and see I follow an artist, I'm not going to say his name, very left-leaning. And I love his work. I love him as a person. We get along great. And he posted to this morning, went with my wife to see Sound of Freedom. Not taking sides here, but we have to end human trafficking. It's a very important film. And so you have half the people in there, longtime fans, going, I'm no longer supporting you. I thought you agreed with me. I didn't know you were conservative. And I'm like,
it's not about that.
No, it isn't. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's insanity. And people have to see that. And people have to now realize that, wait a minute, if some publications are saying they don't go and watch that movie because there's zero politics in the movie, zero. That is a big alarm bell going off. That's a very dangerous thing. That means those people are got to be involved in all that crap. Because otherwise, why would they be angry? Why would they say it? Now, if there was something, the word Trump said there, or something happens like that, none of that. Right. So, and like I said, it was 5 years ago the movie came out. I saw it 5 years ago. It was hard. And then Disney tried to stop it for 5 years. So you go, they tried to buy the rights, and then finally they could buy it back, and there's this whole freaking nightmare going on just to tell the truth. It's scary. And then they say, yeah, but you're just fearing, you make people fear. They go, well, that's exactly what we need right now, because they need to see if it's $150 billion. Like Caviezel was an interview from him, and he said that all the biggest soccer clubs and football clubs and NFL, all together, it's not even close to $150 billion. And that's a year industry. Yep. 2 million kids. Imagine your kid getting grabbed and put in a room, and God knows how many times something happens. Because you know what? That's what the movie says also, right? It's a kilo cocaine is gone after a kilo. A kid, you can keep making money. And then when they go a certain age and they use them up, harvest donors, organ harvesting. I'm mixing everything up. And you go like, this is not real. Yes, put your blinders on and think it's not real. It's not going to make it not unreal. It's happening right now. People need to speak up, and people need to see this.
It's fascinating too. It's like when you look at a movie like Taken or some of these other action movies that come out that have always showed the good guy eradicating the evil. Everyone cheers. Everyone, oh, this is awesome. It's badass. Kill the terrorists. Kill the traffickers. Well, when it's happening in real time, or it's a documentary, or you read these news articles, every other week there's a child being rescued from someone's house in Mississippi or Nevada. This is real human trafficking stuff. It's like when it finally hits close to home, it's like, oh, wait, hold on a second. This isn't a movie. This is real life. And it's like maybe part of me is like people are afraid to see what evil really is.
Yep, that's it.
And I think, but so for someone like you, with the platform you have, were you ever afraid to be so outspoken? In the sense that you could able to talk about the stuff, or you could talk about your faith, or certain subject matter where it's like maybe there could be a percentage of people that followed your fight career that love the self-defense stuff, but now they're like, well, hold on a second, I don't know if I agree with the fact you're so open about your faith. Like, how do you kind of micromanage you as a person as opposed to what people perceive you as?
Well, it's very simple for me. Like when I got back to the faith, I realized I was doing everything wrong, that I was the opposite of being a man, and that a real guy has his vices in control, and it's not the drink. It's not the guy who screams profanity. It's not the guy who can't control his vices. That's the weak guy. Those are the weak people who can't control anything. Those pedophiles who can control their urges. Those are the weak people. And look at them when you catch them. They're all a bunch of pussies. I mean, it's unbelievable. Now, but for me, I realized that it doesn't matter. Like, for instance, I'm a very Catholic, right? I go daily mass. I do a lot. People are squid, and I get attacked the whole time. But it is so funny because I never go on an atheist website and start telling, oh, you should believe in God. You should believe in God. And the only reason they do it is because they don't know for sure. And if they would have experienced what I experienced, physically being attacked by a spirit, of curtain scene flying in front of me, that because I thought the person was in the house, I saw the person walk, my kids got played. I have stories, people like that will be praying 3 rosaries a day. They will freak their life. If it scared me, then a pussy like that, and pussy I say, because I don't call it the other word, pussy means lack of courage and determination. Those guys, I'm doing the shit in the pants. That's what they're going to do. Drives me insane. Just leave it alone. I'm not asking for you. And I don't ask you to believe. And I'm not trying to force it upon you. Just let me be a happy guy. It changed my life. And it changed a lot of people around me. And it made our gym better. It made everything better. Profanity stopped. All the crazy stuff that we were doing, we stopped it. Because it's all unnecessary. We are so attached to these worldly possessions. Oh, I got a biggest car because it's all about what other people think of me. Don't you know that? This is really weird, right? We care so much what we're saying, but then we care also so much what other people think of us. And I go, dude, you're so stupid. You're attached. That's an earthly pleasure. You're attached to attention. You want to have it. And now with the internet, everybody's a tough guy. And they're all spitting their anger and you see him in person. I got in a fight with this 23-year-old kid, not a fist fight, but an argument. And he's look at me like this. Yeah, but you didn't do it. He didn't even look me in the eye. Because online, he's a very tough guy, but in person, he had no clue how to behave himself. And I go, dude, I'm just saying what you were doing is wrong. He was talking about in California, you can steal under $500 and nobody can do anything. He's telling the story about his father is there. And they're all okay with that. And I go, I think you're an asshole. I mean, who does that? Imagine you're just building up your business. You have these guys coming in, and you see it all over the country right now. Listen, if I had a business, that's not a very Catholic thing I'm going to say right now. No, but I'm going to have my students outside there with baseball bats. Come in my store, see what happens. That's what I'm going to do. if I would have a store. But you see, it's the most insane thing, and people allowing that. But then you see that throughout the whole, you know, if you're rioting, you didn't need to wear your mask. And if you go to church, you cannot go to church. I mean, they try everything to separate us. And what people don't realize is, and Philip II started that. There was an emperor in the Roman Empire a long time ago, conquer and divide and conquer. That's a term. What they're doing, they're setting left up to right and right to left, because if we are fighting, the government can do whatever the hell they want to do, because we're too focused on each other. And that is literally a term that's later used by Caesar. And then Napoleon, you heard him, divide and conquer, divide. They spoke it out. You know, it's a technique. And people are brainwashed. We're getting gaslighted, and they don't even have it. They think it's the other party. Right thinks they get brainwashed, and left thinks those guys get brainwashed. We're all getting brainwashed, man. If you watch the news, you are getting brainwashed. You ever saw those clips where the newsreaders say exactly the same thing? And like 100 screens and everybody same thing? That's propaganda. That's what that is. And we're falling for it. I go, dude, I would never listen to a news like that anymore. Those are not journalists. They're reporters. They're just news readers. They have nothing to bring to the table other than their looks and their voice. That's it. And they don't even check it, because if you're a guy and you check that stuff, like for instance with this movie now, and you say don't go and watch the movie, dude, you're a bad person. You're a really bad person. I'm sorry.
It's fascinating too. I know you've been on Joe Rogan, but people like himself, Russell Brand, even Bill Bauer on the left-hand side, they're free thinkers. I think that aggravates people because they're not being told what to say, right? I mean, I know there's sponsors and stuff per se, like they have to toe a certain line. But I love the courage it takes for people like that just to say what you want, talk to the people you want to talk to. Because I think if we all got in the table together and broke bread, you could sit with gay, straight, black, white, left, right.
Yes,
all these people
good.
just talk. And I think, again, people fall into this headline said this, so I have to agree this way. It takes a lot of courage to step outside your own box and comfort zone. And the people that just follow these tabloids or tabloids or read the headlines or watch the same news cycle every day, it's like, at what point do you just kind of give up and just fall into line? And maybe that's what they want.
That's what they want, you know, but what people should learn is to speak up for themselves. That's what I always say. Do your own homework. And if you do your homework, don't read don't look at the left news, the right news, forget about that. Start doing your own homework. And then you're going to realize, you remember with the vax, when we didn't take the vaccine and everybody was getting freaking angry, and then look at now. And there's still people who don't believe it. And it's 100%. Fauci says it himself now. Gates tells it himself now. Oh, it was just a heavy flu. Suddenly it was just a heavy flu. And I go, are you insane? You gave some stuff to kids. I mean, look at the numbers. That's not a conspiracy. What is happening with my mom had a stroke, right? Just before COVID, just a month before. So who knows, whatever it was. But then my father, who's super healthy, was 87, but he's all there, he's walking, he's doing everything perfect. They forced him to take the shot, and then he gets the same one. And then I go and he passes away. You know, this is 2 strokes in one household, and both super healthy parents. They outwalk people in the Grand Canyon, Eustace, when they were like 65. They would walk further than them because that's what they do every single day. They love it. They love nature. And now both of them had a stroke. And they're super healthy. It's kind of weird, you know. So, and then you look at the numbers, and if it went up 700%, and stillbirth went up 800%, and I mean, you can go on and on and on, and it's everywhere. And these doctors speaking up, and they get shut down by speaking the truth. And then now it starts coming out, you know. And like I said, this is the same with the child trafficking. It's not political. This is just, you know, we have to be good people. Forget about politics, but what the media does, they make it political. Because if you're, for instance, if you're left and you don't want to do something, they try you not to do it. They try you not to do it. And if it's not working, watch what happens. They add the name Trump to it. Trump used to do that. Oh, I'm not going to do it. I'm not a racist. Well, not a racist, but you're not going to watch the movie, so you're a pedophile. Let's be honest here then. Or you're supporting that, right? If your brain works like that, it's insanity, man. That's why I don't watch news. I don't go politics. I forget all that. I do what is right, what is wrong and right, and I act on that. And if I bring out that I'm a Catholic and I'm losing, I lost like 80,000 members overnight when I came out that I wasn't a Catholic. And then my page started going down. I was growing 20,000 a month for years. It starts going down all the way to 520 or something. And then it started going, now it's like 633, it starts coming back. But now I have the people who follow me for the real reason, who follow me, who just respect me for who I am and don't care. And I'm not political. I'm not even want to go there because it's all stupid and we're fighting each other for nothing. You know, it's just opinions. If I tell you, hey, what color is your favorite color? You say green. And I said, no. I want purple to be your color. And then getting angry about it. Then we start laughing. We say, this is stupid, it's a color. Well, that's the same as politics.
Right.
You Biden and Trump, and it doesn't really matter. It's an opinion. And if you are exactly the same as me, for instance, right? We do everything the same, but only we have different political views. And because of that, we hate each other. While 99% of everything we're in sync with each other. How stupid are we? You know, why are people pushing people out of their families, out of the friend circle, because just have a political different view? It blows my mind how dumb people are, because that's literally, you got to be a dumb person. I love all my friends who are the opposite, and they love me. So it's working. You just have to have good friends, I guess. Smart guys.
And to your point, it's like, if I want to learn the best self-defense tactics or how to survive a bar fight or how to just, if you're a street fight, I'm going to follow someone like you. But I'm also smart enough to realize if I'm atheist and you're Catholic, I'm still going to go to the expert in this field. I'm not going to let what your personal beliefs are, because unless you are a pedophile or you are, unless you're a vile person, I'm not going to stand by you. But I'm able to separate someone's belief system or how they feel, if you're gay or straight, and you're the expert in shooting and you're gay, man, I'm going to you. Teach me.
Yeah.
And it's like people, again, it's just such a fascinating thing. And I don't want to keep harping on it, but it's just, I appreciate your passion about it, because I think more people, especially people like you and your platform and what you do, people need to see like this anger and this emotion and passion to kind of make this world a better place. I don't care what your background is. People need to be fired up to make a change for the best.
That's it. You know, like Jesus gave us 2 commandments, right? If you're an atheist, forget about commandment number 1. But why not the second one that we all know, treat thy neighbor as thyself.
Yeah.
That's the only thing, the most 2 powerful. Love God with everything you got. Okay, I don't believe in God. Good. But you can do the second one, right? Just, you know, treat him like you would like to be treated. That's literally it. And if we all do that, we're not in this crazy crap. But you know what it is? It's egos, and it's our own voices that we have online. You have people who have 0 voice, and now suddenly they have a voice because they are safe behind the disk on the computer. You meet them in person, oh, dude, they're freaking out. They don't know what to say. It's a sad thing if you really think about it. Those people, what do you think? You know, attacking people, and you go to sleep at night. Before you go to sleep, you brush your teeth, you look in the mirror, and you see yourself standing there. And, oh, I went to town on this guy today. Oh, I'm the man with a fake account. I go like, dude, I would be embarrassed. You know, if I want to have family, that's the moment you go, okay, maybe I should shoot myself, because that is not a real guy. That's a fake guy who has 0 cojones. And the only way for him to feel a little powerful is go online. And that's the same with the pedophiles, right? It's a power thing. You know, oh, you're little innocent. They go to the jail. No, you're an insecure guy. Go do it. Get your wife.
Yeah.
I mean, it's mind-blowing. It's this is the world we live in. I just adapt to it. That's why I cut myself off from all social media. You will see in my social media. I almost never do it. I don't go. Every politic thing that I have, I say, I don't want to see this. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. Left, right, I don't care anymore. I don't want to see it anymore because it drives me insane.
When you've openly talked about your friendship with Kevin James, the actor, and how he helped bring you kind of back into the Catholic faith. But in those years that you kind of left church and stuff, were your parents or other family members kind of trying to get you back, or was this like a journey you had to set out on your own? Like, what was that like?
Yeah, my parents stopped going to church when I was around 12. So what happened was I saw a book, a science book, How the World Got Together, the Big Bang Theory. Yeah. And if they say to me, do you believe in the Big Bang Theory? I say, oh, yeah. Oh, but you're a Catholic. I say, yeah. God spoke and bang, it happened. You know, that's what I say. And this is literally it. And that's, I think, the moment that they didn't want to go to church anymore. Let it go, man. Have peace. If people are happy with what they're doing, it changed my life. Now, and the way it changed my life is because, yes, I believe there was a higher power. I always believed that. But to Jesus, I think, I didn't really know. And, you know, ghosts and bad people until I got physically attacked by a spirit in the house. And that happened that night. Like, it happened like 6 times. And I know people go, oh, sleep paralysis. Sleep paralysis when your entire body can't move. Well, I couldn't move. I could move my arms, only my chest was pinned to the ground. And that person, or the spear, whatever it was sitting so hard on me, which I understand now because now I have that breathing device that I developed.
Yep.
It crushed my chest. And if you can't expand your chest, well, you're going to die. You can't breathe. That's the way we breathe, by expanding our chest. And it would freak. I couldn't do anything, and I tried, and I couldn't feel anything, and I tried to get my foot out of the bed to try to pull myself out, and the only way to get out of it, and I was still using a lot of profanity at the time, I would go, fuck, and then suddenly it would be gone, and then I would challenge it. I go crazy, I go do that again. Now come back. But don't wait till I'm in a REM sleep or something. Be a tough guy, you know. I thought you were so tough. I'll bring it down to my level. You know, let's do this thing. But of course, it never happened. I always sit in the middle of the night when I pee because I don't have to turn the light on because otherwise I'm peeing all over the place. So I'm sitting down and I see my wife walk to the kitchen. And I think, oh, she's probably going to get tea or water, whatever, you know, in the middle of the night. And I go back to bed. My wife is in bed. So I'm hooked, grab the gun. I go through the whole house because I 100% saw a person. Boom. Then that's the one that I always talk about when people have no idea. I came home with the whole family. And yes, when I leave the home, every door, every window, everything is locked. Trust me, I'm very meticulous with that stuff. You know, at night, I go through everything 3 times. And I walk in and I say, there's somebody in the house. I felt a person's presence in the house. And I told my kids and wife to stay outside, dial 911, don't hit send. If you hear something, hit send. Don't worry. I know where the weapons are. It's going to be okay. And I'm walking in. And there's on this right side, this is like a wall. And this is an open kitchen to the kitchen in the back. And this kitchen in the back has a door post with a really thick curtain hanging. And here's the dining room on this side of the wall. And I'm thinking the person is here. So I start walking here, making a lot of noise going forward. Hopefully he's going to do this, of course. And then I make a U-turn and I'm going to catch the guy. So I come around the corner and I'm sprinting as hard as I could. And the curtain goes up against the ceiling. This is 9 o'clock at night, guys. I just drove home. I didn't drink a drop. So a person ran through it, but there was nobody in the freaking house. That really got me. Now at all these attacks, now everything happened. That's when I start challenging it. And I challenged it at the dining table room, because that was the room where it was always cold. There's sometimes a weird smell. That was where the curtain flew up. And I just start challenging it. I just said, let's go, let's do this, man. Every time you got to do these crazy things. You know, I hear the demons are so tough. Come on, let's fight. Let's do something, you know, bring it out. I need something to hit, of course, whatever we can do. But you got to bring it down to my level. And then somehow it never happened again. So that's in my head, right? Now I fight in the UFC, not in the UFC, in my last fight in 2006, after 7 years of not competing. I always wanted to pull, and that's why I took the fight. All my injuries came back, was lucky, stopped them in the first round, was great, came home, we'll get another house, like a quarter mile up with a pool. We go there, first night of sleep, my daughter slept upstairs, one of my daughters. And I asked the girls in the morning how the first night was. And they go, oh, it was nice, but I had a visit from 2 boys, my daughter said. And I go, whoa, wait, spirits then, right? I mean, yeah. I go, honey, what was going on? She goes, yeah, they were just, one kept playing on the bed. I go, you're not freaking out. She says, no. I said, how old were they? 16, 17, something? You know, and I go, this is crazy. So I look at my wife, I go down, I go on the computer, if something ever happened in this house. Right away. Oh, by the way, I can go back to what happened in the other house because it all ties in. Well, in 2001, in December, some poor parents lost some kids. 4 kids in the car, 1 girl, 3 boys. They went through our wall. I'm walking outside. I see where they drove through the wall. 2 boys passed away, 16 and 17 years old. We had no clue about this. Okay, so now I know something is going on. Now, then we go all the way back till I was 10 years of age. And when I was 10, I remember I had a lot of medication when I was a kid. 45 pills a day. I was a severe asthma patient, attack every 5 weeks, inhalers all day long. I mean, I took a lot of very bad eczema, skin disease. I was the leper in school. That's what they called me. Not a lot of memories, only good memories, but one memory sticks out when I was 10 years old and I was looking outside the window, mesmerized with a tree. And the teacher is trying to get a hold of me. And I know he's doing that, but I just can't take my eyes off the tree. And the kids start laughing and he gets angry. And I go, what? He goes, what are you doing? I said, I'm looking at the tree. He goes, what about the tree? I said, how did it get there? And he goes, they planted it there, idiot. I go, yeah, I understand that. But I mean, if you go to the tree before, and you go to the tree before, you go all the way back, where do trees come from? And I could not let that go. It's really weird. So, but I came home and everything was normal again. But it always got in my head. I don't know what was going on. Then I'm on the set, and in the break, somebody comes to talk. Leo Severino, who's a theologian. And to me, they didn't say anything about God and Jesus, because they knew if they would say, I say, I'm up in my room, I'll see you in an hour. You know, but he says, hey, boss, this guy's going to talk about how the world got together. You want to hear? It's like 35, 40-minute speech. You can smoke a cigar. It's outside at the Wynn Hotel in the Cabana, AC. I said, sure, why not? Drink a Coke, smoke a cigar. Good. And the first thing the guy says is, the leaf fell from the tree. That's his opening line.
Wow.
And he goes, the leaf fell from the tree. He says, that leaf just reached its end destination. Let's go backtrack that leaf. And he goes to the branch, and then he goes to the tree before, and the tree before, and the tree before. And I'm sitting there and I go, I know this story from somewhere, but I couldn't put it together. And then suddenly it came to the realization. I get goosebumps now. I go, oh man, that was almost like at 10 years of age, God just planted a seed in my head. And he goes, don't worry about it. It will come back later in life, but something's going to happen. And that, when he was done with his talk, I mean, you hear that talk, I think 99% will be like, okay, that was it. And you have to understand, I was physically attacked. I saw the curtain. I saw the woman. I saw the story, what happened with my daughter. All these things started coming together. And then I realized there's bad. And if there's bad, there's good. And the only way to beat the bad is the good. And then I started, and I started slowly with prayers and this. And every time I added something, it got better. And it started just growing. And we started doing retreats. And people go, retreats? So you want to be on a retreat with us. Trust me, because it's not, we're praying all day long. No, we do everything. We go shooting. We do everything. We study a lot. We do that as well. But it's a fun thing to do. And you're just learning about it. And then you realize how much information in that book is, in those books, I should say. It's just bizarre. Like, I mean, modern psychiatrists still use the terms that they use in there, every saying, you name it, 2 eyes for an eye, whatever it is, they all come from the Bible. It's what Jordan Peterson said, it's not a true book. He says it's the ultimate truth. And that comes from a guy who didn't believe.
Right.
And now he does. You see, so if it makes me feel good, what is the problem? And if you want to unfollow me, you've never been a fan. It's like something happened with me one time with, they said I was the president of this bare knuckle organization. That went wrong. These fighters didn't get paid and everybody started attacking me and I lost. And then I go like, but I know that I didn't do anything. I know that I checked everything. I had all the emails of my lawyer asking that guy the bank numbers because I needed to make sure the money was there. What the people also don't know is that I never got paid. Not only that, the people that I hired in the commentating booth, Jimmy Lennon Jr., the ring announcer, Kenny Rice, Stitch Duran, Jacob Duran, the Stitch man, and Bert Watson, who is the guy who does everything behind stage. Well, I hired those guys. All the rest, they hired them. I came in very late, but I felt responsible. So guess who paid those guys? I paid those guys. Thankfully, Kenny didn't want to have money. And thankfully, somehow Stitch got paid. But you can ask Jimmy Lennon Jr., you can ask Bart Watson from what account that money came. So I'm not only didn't get paid, I also lost money on top of it. And if people say, oh, he's just saying that, well, I'm okay with that. I don't need your gratitude anymore. He knows. That's the most important one for me. And I know, I can look. That's why I don't cheat, because he will know and I will know. They say, yeah, but she's not going to find out. No, but I know. I find out. I don't want to cheat. It would kill me if my wife would do it. So why would I do it? You see, so just think. Right. And once you do that, life becomes different, my friend. I go happier to bed every single day.
Yeah. You talk about kind of like those retreats where you go out shooting and do camping and stuff. It's like, for me, I've always struggled with the idea. I'm born and raised Catholic, but I've always thought that if I don't go to church every Sunday, I'm a bad Catholic. And with my work, and I know it's a terrible excuse, sometimes I work on Sundays or every day of the week, or I'm tired, which again is another poor excuse. But I also pray a lot, or I do the rosary, I have prayer cards, I visit churches and stuff where I can. It's like, maybe I think for the people that are trying to struggle with faith, like the idea that you can adapt to it. Like, yes, the Bible and all the old school. I remember going to communion when you had to sit down with a wooden paddle into your throat, and all this stuff. And it's like that stuff adapts. It's like the idea of church, I think it can adapt. I think to get it out there, like you kind of talk about this, when you think of retreats, people are like, oh, I got to do Bible study, I got to do all this stuff. Like, well, no, you could go out and hang out with your people and learn about God, but do it in activities that you would normally do, whether it's scrapbooking or hunting or it's stuff. Like, how do we kind of get out there and kind of push that out there where it's like, it doesn't have to be this big scary thing that people are intimidated by?
It's, you know what they want. It's 1 hour and 168 hours, right?
Right.
That's a week. That's what they ask. That's your minimum thing.
Right.
I don't do it. I do more because I just enjoy it. And I feel really good every time I do it. And people need to understand that, you know, the most important is to live like this guy. This kid, when I had this fight with this 23-year-old kid, he lost the conversation. But then when Conor McGregor broke his shin bone or his ankle, and I gave him my 2 cents what I thought the reason was, because I showed him why it was, but he didn't believe it, and he didn't like that. But so when we got in this heated conversation, he knows I'm a Christian. And suddenly he shouted, yeah, when we stole for under $500, my friends who are Christians, they stole the most. And I go, oh, okay, well, they're not practicing Christians then. No, they are because they go to church every week. I go, oh, wait a minute, let's break that down. So what you're saying is that if you come into my gym and you walk around and you look at some classes, you're a professional fighter. That's what you're saying. Or do you think maybe you should go get in some classes and learn the art? And then more importantly, when you leave the gym, you live like a fighter. No sex, no drinking, no drugs, not going to parties close to a fight. There's a lot you cannot do. You know, that you think that's what a fighter is? And of course, he couldn't say anything. That's the same thing. In church, you have guys who come out of church and one is backing up, the other guy doesn't want to let him in, and they start flipping each other off. And I go, you just came out of mass. What are you doing? You see, that's not a practicing Catholic.
Right.
He just is there for, if it is true, then at least I'm going to go to heaven. That's what they think. You know, it doesn't work like that. That's the lukewarm. That's Revelation 3:16. Read what God thinks of the lukewarm. He will vomit them out of his mouth. If you're neither hot or cold, he won't, but in between, he's not really happy with people like that. So be happy. You know, and if you go to church, a little respect. You know, you don't have to be in your freaking shorts and a tank top and on flip-flops, you know. What about 1 hour? What would you do if somebody comes to the funeral of your father dressed like that?
Yeah.
What would you do? You see, it's just common sense. But no, it's so easy because then I can go straight from church to the beach. But is it so hard to make those clothes to a beach little cabin? And it takes 2 minutes to, you know, it's all laziness, gluttony. It's like, it makes no sense anymore, the world to me. And again, that's the reason I'm off media.
Yeah. Is it tough for you being a father in this day and age? Like, what are the correlations? Are there any similarities, or what are the differences between how you were raised by your parents versus how you raise your kids?
Yeah. Well, I thought my parents should have given me more. I was that guy. What I didn't realize is that my parents did it perfect. They raised me perfect. They let me allow to do everything myself. They will give me, if I wanted the stereo for my birthday, they will give me the stereo, and now I had to make the money to the speakers, for the speakers. Otherwise, I didn't have it. You see, so in the beginning, I didn't like that, but they let me work. So with my kids, I thought, oh, I'm going to do everything for them. It's the worst thing you can do as a father. It's the worst thing because you don't teach them anything themselves. Oh, you got a flat tire on a bicycle? I fix it. No, I shouldn't have done that. I should have stand there and guide them through it and help them when they need it, but they need to know that art because now they learned a skill. But it comes from a good place because I wanted to be the good father. You're not a good father if you do that. Oh, that's weird. So as a parent, somebody just asked me that at the seminar, what would you suggest? I said, this is exactly what I said. I said, don't do everything for them. You know, give a kid what they need, not what they want to have. There's also a big one, you know, because the stupid stuff, like me with my remote controlled car, I begged my parents. And finally, when I had it 3 days later, I was bored of it. You know, they were right. And I was wrong again. And every time they've been seeing monks, so listen to your parents. They know more than you know. And then, you know, learn arts. You got to change something, electricity, you got to flip a switch, whatever. Teach them how to fix that. Right. Because if they don't know, they don't know. You know, boil an egg. When do you start boiling? When it starts boiling, 4 minutes, it's soft-boiled egg. Very simple, you know. But if you don't know, you don't know. Listen, this is a guy coming to America. I didn't know how to write a check. For you guys, it's the most, but imagine, I'm 36. We never wrote a check in Holland. So you come here, they say this, and they give this thing to you. What do I do here? Okay, here, put the number. What do I do? I have to spell it out. Spell it out what I just did. Oh, okay, well, spell it out. What is this is the signature. Oh, here, yeah, the reason why. Oh, okay, but I had to ask because I had no clue. You see, so what you don't know, you don't know. You have to simply learn. Somebody tells you one time, you got it. You know, but that's how we all learn. Everybody.
It's previous guests on the podcast, I've had Pat Miletich, Dan Severin, Ray Sifu, a bunch of combat fighters, and I've always blown away by and you even kind of hinted at too, you know every corner man or stitch guy or punches you throw in every fight. It's like that attention to detail. Is that because I imagine when you talk to like a quarterback or like a soccer player, you really can't remember every slide tackle, every catch, can you? Is it because the fights are so small in terms of you're fighting maybe 50 fights your whole life as opposed to playing 30 games a year or 100 games a year? It's like, how do you kind of remember those moments in time? Because it's like every time you've talked, even other podcasts, you're so specific and you give homage and thanks to the people in those fights and help work with you and stuff. It kind of blows my mind.
It's everything you learn from your mistakes. Fighting, I know how to fight, and I know how to teach. And I get everybody, especially in striking, because I haven't done any groundwork for a long time, but still in groundwork. You give me a week, I'll back to everything. I know I am. So I know that's not a feather up my own butt. That's just something you have no idea what I did for it. I mean, I become insane. My wife got crazy. Once you start waking up in the middle of the night and submitting your wife, wake her up and hurt your shoulder, right? Writing it down and using it in training, and walk in the kitchen. I say, lean over, and I put her in a choke. I say, are you getting dizzy or this hurts your throat? She hurts my throat. Shit, I thought it was a blood choke. Okay, so, and then I would write these things down, these little Post-its everywhere, 2 lines on the floor. I would always shoulder width walking to my apartments. I had little cables come down with cloth pins on it with little Post-its that I would hit all the time. So if I walked to the restroom, I would be on the 2 lines. Always fighting stance. I would move over and move back, and then hitting those things. I was just busy with it all day long, and I break everything down. I'm not going to do something because you said so. I'm going to listen to you, and then I'm going to figure out if that truly is the best way. Because he can be wrong, but you read on internet. Guess what? It's not wrong, or if it's not right. There's a 6-year-old can write something on the internet, right? But we hear something, and if it fills us with emotions that we love. Like, for instance, you hear a gossip thing about a person that you don't like. Now, what you should do, never gossip. But if you gossip, make sure you know actually the real truth about the story. Yeah, but boss, no. This is going to make him really look bad, and I already don't like the guy. They just go with it. And then I say to these people, what if that would happen to you? How would you react? If they just make a lie up, happened to me with the whole president thing. I was not even the president. I never signed a contract. It was just a title they gave for the people. I never was anything. If you flip the situation, they will freak out. Yet they do it easily to other people, and that's the world we live in right now, buddy.
It's just crazy. And so when you I preface this, I did Secret Service for about 8 years. And when we were in Georgia, past the Department of Homeland Security stuff, you had to be like 3 to 4 months down there. And a lot of the mat training was a lot of Krav Maga, but a lot of jiu-jitsu type stuff, submissions, blood chokes, all that stuff, disarming. But every time we mess up, part of the workout would always be, it'd be your tapes, like the liver strikes. And so I was obviously familiar with you, and obviously old UFC fights. I love watching old clips. But the first time I heard you with the mat, it was like a really super shitty day. Like we all messed up. And when I heard you say liver strike, or it was very specific to where you do the liver strikes, uppercuts, and I was just kind of blown away by it. It's like how stuff comes full circle, where you watch someone like you do it in real time in a fight, growing up as a kid, watching the UFC or buying the old VHS tapes, to here I am training, and that stuff is so practical to what we do today. And it's like, it's for you to have to create like these techniques or stuff like that, or striking, and to see it put into the real world, whether it's law enforcement or military and people that are bodyguards. It's got to be kind of cool for you to kind of see that your type of training and style out there being beneficial to people in all different scenarios.
That's the thing, like I was so proud of when I got inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame. The statistics, they said that till this day I hold the highest striking accuracy in mixed martial arts, in the entire mixed martial arts. I go, well, that's just because the style of the way I fight. That means everybody can do this. It's just doing it. It's like breathing, You see all these people breathe and they're running out of gas. Well, look at Tony Ferguson. Look at Michael Chandler. Look at the guys who are in tip-top shape. There will be zero movement. It's all belly breathing, and that's why they have the advantage, And I go, it's very simple. So I see a stance. I look at the blading stance that everybody has. I'm not a big fan of that. you know, because you can get leg kicked. It's very hard to check those kicks. It neutralizes my left. It's a jab, but it's not really a powerful punch. A left hook, well, I'm going to have to load it up or set it up at a cross, but I can't do it like this because you're going to get knocked out. I mean, there's so many things. And I go like, is this stupid if you really think about it? What is the reason that people are not standing wide? Because Mike Tyson stands wide, and Mike Tyson hits almost equal power on his left and his right. Oh, I like that much better. And then every coach is going to tell you, you're a wider target. That's why you don't want to stand like this. You want to be as small as possible for your opponent. And I go, okay, and more, and what more? No, that's it. I go, wait. So my jab becomes a straight punch. My inside low kick can do really freaking damage. Everything becomes better. My counters easier. Everything becomes better. But only because I'm a wider target? How many times did Mike Tyson go down to the body? I can't recall.
No.
Chuck Liddell, I can't recall. Mike Tyson of Ramon Dekkers, I can't recall. There's a few more fights who are fighting also over me. Also never. How is that possible? If it's so easy to hit me to the body, why can't you? And you know what happens? Once you start fighting like this, your mind automatically, you know, and your defense start coming with your elbows. Your defense will be better there by different ways that you have learned before. That's the same. I use this example because it's hilarious. First time I picked a buddy of mine up, he's like, if you want somebody for disarming guns, listen, I trained the high top level SEALs, I trained everybody, and I always told them about my buddy. And they said they never wanted to do it until I had him for a week also in my class. I said, I'm just going to call him in anyway, because you guys are going to freak out. And they love this guy. I mean, 200ths of a second, he takes a gun away. They did the measurements on him on the sports science. I mean, the guy is a freak of nature. And the first time I picked him up, he was sparring with kicks to the balls. Everybody. And I go, okay, that's next level stuff. And nobody got kicked in the balls. And you know why? Because we don't like to get kicked in the balls. So your defense starts automatically becoming better. You reach his length of the leg. You know, it all becomes part of your computer, of your analysis. And once it's in there, now you avoid it. And it's the same with the wide stance. My wide stance, this is really good for forward backward movement. This is really good for lateral movement. Nobody, physics-wise, can say to me that this is not the best way to stand, because I can equally move to the front, to the left, to the sides, because my foot is right in the square, right bottom corner, left high corner. And if you're southpaw, it's the other way around. That's it, you know. And now, if somebody gives me a right kick, oh, I can turn into it. Oh, I can right away come back with power shots. This is crazy. The whole world started opening up. And that's why I connect with so many shots. I'm so accurate, because I'm just fighting like that. I don't throw jabs. I don't do all that. I just do heart attacks, because it's, and meet heart, H-A-R-D, not heart attack. If you hit somebody really hard to the body, a couple of times preferably, guess what happens? Defense goes down. There's your next target. Oh, wait a minute. They can work the other way around to start hitting the head. Oh, but he's got such long arms. Hit him here, above the defense. You're going to force him to do this. Body is exposed. Now go for the body. That's literally what fighting is. It's pretty simple. And then when you add kicks to it, now you can add leg kicks as well, and calf kicks. Dude, now you're all over the body. And if you start spreading that out, oh, then it becomes effective. And then I'm the master of the game. I see a knockout in the UFC or in the Pride or in Bellator, or whatever it is. I write it down. Most of the time I see already what they used as a setup, but sometimes I miss it. So I rewind. And I go, oh, man, that's smart. He was setting it up right here already. And I write it down. Yes, just steal it. And then once I have it, I start doing it myself. And it works for me, I keep it. And if it doesn't work for me, I go to the next one. But you see, that's how we learn. And then just make it better and better. My combinations, oh, a knockout will bring itself, they always say. Well, pretty much all my fights and knockouts come from combinations that I worked on. But I work on combinations hundreds, no, thousands of times. I go over and over again. Mirko Cro Cop, I was asking him, but super high left kick, right? Yeah. I said, how do you train that? How do you, he says, boss, 4 times a week after a workout, I do 1,000 kicks. Think about that.
Right, him.
Think about it. Bruce Lee, what did he say? I'm not afraid of the guy who does 10,000 kicks, who knows 10,000 kicks. I'm afraid of the guy who knows 1 kick, but did it 10,000 times. And here we have a guy who does 12,000 high kicks a month. Of course he's good, because he's just practicing it. You see, and that's what I'm saying. And you can do this too. And I'm not a fast learner. I'm not super gifted. I'm gifted and I understand that I see things really fast, but I have to work for it. That's the same with my memorization. I don't have a freaking Mauro Ranello, Holt McKellar, all my friends who, Joe Rogan, they read something, it's retained, they got it. I don't have that. I have to work for it, but once it's in there, it's in there. But I can spend hours on it. And that's just what I do. And then I combine things. Maybe if I'm stretching, I'm memorizing lines. Maybe I'm walking the dog with an O2 trainer in my mouth, I'm memorizing my lines. You see, I always try to do two things at the same time, but now I found out from Johan Hari, that book, Stolen Focus, sometimes you got to keep your mind relaxed and don't do anything. Just stare out of a window, whatever it is, because that's where you start making all the connections. So I start pulling back a little bit on that.
With the advances in science and medicine as it pertains to CTE or just any injury in combat sports fighting, would your approach to fighting change if you know, with the information you know today in terms of your career and fighters in general?
So, yes, I would change my fighting style now. Dwayne Ludwig is one of my top students. He started together with me the Bas Rutten inspired Bang Muay Thai system, and we are switching stances nonstop. Everything that you have to know right-handed, you have to know left-handed, because you never know. If you break your right hand, you lost your cross. Now you got to switch stance, you have a cross again. Now it's the left. And if you've never been in that situation, well, then you're going to have a problem. So now it's switching stances and throwing feints out. 100%, I would now fight like that because I see how effective it is. Sure, my style was very effective. But still, now you can really play around, suddenly switching a stance. So somebody's a southpaw, you come out as a southpaw. You go like, whoa, what happened here? Nobody's going to expect it. You see, so it's always good to have more tools in your belt.
When you retired, was it tough to kind of suppress that fighting warrior spirit? Or does that type of energy and passion go into something like the O2 breather or other work you do? I mean, how difficult was it able to kind of put that kind of fighting spirit into, now you're an entrepreneur, now you're an actor, now you're an author? Like, how do you how's that transition for you?
It was a hard one. I've always been very out there with my mind, and very open, and a crazy guy with my ADD. I'm just different, I was already in Holland and here as well. So thankfully, somehow, the people with TV shows always love that. The crazy dang, dang, bong, bong fights. I never had an idea I was making sound effects. I mean, they just cropped a 1 hour, 45-minute DVD. They put everything in like a 5-minute clip. It was freaking hilarious. I was crying. I tried to contact the guy to give him everything he wants for my website because he gave me so many jobs. It's bizarre. Like every video game, Grand Theft Auto. I mean, you name it, the fitness guru for Cartoon Network. It's all from those videos. Everybody saw those videos, contact me, and they want a job. They want me to do a job. So I've been always blessed with that. But what I had, the obsessiveness, I have that also when I go after something. So if I have an acting job and the movie is 6 weeks away, but I already have my script, I know my script already 5 weeks before. I can dream it. Because then if I do this over and over again, I can start playing with it. And then I can do it also 3 different ways, whatever way they like the best, But because if I start too late with that, I'm not good with that. I just need memorization over and over again. I do these public speaking talks as well. I just memorize complete 45-minute speeches, and it's a lot of work. It's 3 times a day for 3 weeks straight. Every single I do 45 minutes, 3 times 45 minutes a day, every single day. And then slowly it starts getting in there. And then boom, at the very end, well, before you have to perform, then it becomes natural, then you just put a list down with some bullet points and then I can just talk all the way around it. But it takes a lot of work for me. Again, like Joe Rogan that's a guy who mesmerizes me. I mean, as such a good friend to all these people, as such an honest guy and martial artist, he always plays down himself, man. But this guy is phenomenal. The way he throws a back kick, a spinning back kick, and the back kick to the body. I mean, it's bizarre power. The back kick to the body that he does, people don't understand. You see the back fold around his foot. And what people don't understand is that he needs to be 100% positive that he's going to connect with the back. If he misses that back with that power, he's going to throw his leg out of the socket. I mean, it's that powerful, So that's technique. That means that's perfectionism, what he has there. And then he understands also. He says, oh, I'm just blessed with great retaining information. No, but he's also blessed with connecting all the dots. And that's why it makes him so big. Everybody wants this podcast because they want to be like Joe Rogan. There's only one, man. There's not a lot. Look at Conor McGregor showing up, right? That's the first guy in such a long time. And we had some great ones, Chael Sonnen, but then Conor came, there's always people out there who are freaking excelling, and Joe is one of those guys, and he does it in everything. I don't even know how he does it. I'm so that, you know, if you could say to a guy like I'd be very proud for that guy.
Yeah,
Because that is something really cool what he's doing, and he's everywhere. I don't know how he does it. It's amazing.
it is also fascinating too. You mentioned Chael Sonnen or like Tim Kennedy, or I'm trying to think of some of these other guys that combat sports that talk a lot or do public speaking. It's like even yourself, you're fairly eloquent. You don't waste words. And it's like, does that come with just the comfort of what you did for your career and what you believe in? Because it's like you listen to Chael, and it's like even if you didn't follow fighting, you're mesmerized by how passionate he is and how he speaks. I mean, obviously, does that come with selling a fight? Which obviously people like him can sell a fight, or like it's almost like you can be a great fighter, but I don't know if I believe you enough if you can't talk well too. Like you be a warrior, but be a warrior poet, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I never had really the talking thing that I did. I was just weird, you know, and I was the guy. And unfortunately, fortunately for me, but now I'm thinking, I was crazy, getting involved, 5 bouncers, drunk in Sweden, freaking jail time. I mean, you know, all these stories come out and people are freaking out. And now you go like, yeah, okay, that's why I'm known, you know. And then they know I didn't start it, and people know I'm a good guy, and I know that, you know. People who don't, I don't care about that because I know I am. You know, I go to bed very happy, and I don't screw anybody. I won't steal a cent from you, not a cent, nothing. You know, stealing is wrong. Doesn't matter. It's $100, $1,000, $1 million, dollar, cent. Stealing. Don't steal. It's the same with lying. You know, if I tell a story to a friend of mine and he says, "Oh, I don't believe you," then I don't think our friendship is what I thought it really was, because I would never lie to him. And most of the time when they say, "I don't believe you," that means that they might lie to you, because that's mirroring, right? They expect you to do it too, since they do it as well. You see, so then you have to start questioning yourself if that's really the best friend that you have, because it's kind of weird. I would take everything from a friend what he says to me. I will believe him first. Now, if I have to bring it out in the open, I would like to do some homework about it, because here we go again. I don't want to gossip. I want to make sure that I know from both sides. Right. You see, but it's all preparation. It's really that, and that applies to everything in life. It doesn't matter if you're a surgeon, a lawyer. I mean, it's all coming in prepared. You want to take your nerves away? Prepare 100%. That helps the most. Going into a fight knowing in a 5-round fight that you can't go 5 rounds, not a fun way to go to a fight. Yeah. Because if you get tired and your opponent turns it up, yeah, there we have the saying, fatigue makes out of cowards out of men. That's exactly what's going to happen. I've been in that situation, and it's really not fun, you know, when they turn it up and you feel bad. You got to act yourself out of it. But boy, it's hard, but it's work. It's simply doing it and doing things under pressure. That's the big difference, right? They say that public speaking is the #1 fear. Well, try fighting then. Now, you know that in the beginning, I had more problems with interviews than I had in fighting. I just want to fight. I don't want to do this interview. I was more nervous for interviews than I was for fights. You know, but when you do it 2, 3, 5, 10 times, it suddenly becomes normal. And that's how everything is. And whatever, that's what I tell all my friends is whatever you're afraid of, and it's part of your job, do that the most. You need to stop being afraid of that, because otherwise your job is going to suck. Yeah. And most of the time when you don't like it, it's because you don't understand it. And the only reason why I'm saying this is because I didn't understand the power of submissions. And that's why I never focused on the submissions. And that's after my 3rd loss, I got by submission. I got very angry with myself, and I found one guy. I became very vocal and found one person, Leon. He was 19 years old, Leon Van Dyke. He also fought in Pancrase. And we just started rolling. And we just started watching fights, watching tapes, and then rolling and trying it out and thing. And then I start playing with it. I said, "Oh, I can make this better, you know, and oh, I can make this also better, and at least make it better to fit my body." And then suddenly I became obsessed, you know. And then I realized that, whoa, wait a minute. I thought striking was badass. No, submissions. I mean, every submission guy, not only me, every blue belt and up, I mean, they can pretty much dislocate any joint in your body and break any bone in your body. That's a pretty big skill to have, you know? And I always thought it was for sissies. You see what I mean? So once I grabbed onto it, I became obsessed. And then I got that same obsession that I had with my striking, with my thing, and I started meticulously breaking everything down. Because a lot of people know what a submission looks like, but if you don't understand the body mechanics behind it, you still can't finish them. Or if you don't know, then Can escape. This is a better way of saying it. In the beginning, I was a striker. They told me, just learn how to stay out of an armbar, learn how to stay out of a triangle choke, learn to stay out of a guillotine choke, because those three are the most ones they're going to probably attacking with. If you learn how to defend those, you're going to be fine. No, didn't work, never worked. Until I made the conscious decision to dive into it and to understand it. Now I understood exactly how to apply an armbar and how can he escape. Oh, he can escape if I forget to control his hand. He can escape, you know, and then if I don't push my feet together or my knees together. And you start going over this thing. So once you understand it, you automatically know how to stay out of it and how to escape it. And even better, yeah, like I said, how to get out, how to stay out of it. That's always the best. But now you also know the body mechanics, like, oh, armbar, this is the way I escape, because that's what I would do. And I have trouble with that if somebody would do it to me. You see, it's just breaking it down. And once you understand it, oh man, the world opens. That's my advice to everybody. Understand what you're doing. And they say, I do it. You don't. You don't. If I have a figure four, everybody escapes the figure four. The arm goes up this far. Well, if I see guys doing that on the main card in the UFC who don't know that they have to press this arm down in the same line as the shoulders, and now look, now I can only lift this high up. Here, I can lift it up this high. Here, now I tap. We know what it looks like, but this is what it looks like. But this is not correct. This is correct. You see, and if you feel the difference, you go like, oh, I better never do this. Okay, so how do I get out of it? Well, I got to stretch this arm. It's not possible because they're holding this arm. Okay, what about with my heels? If I stretch my legs, I grab the floor and I pull myself lower. Hey, same end result, right? Now the arm is also stretched, and then you can escape again. You see, so then you start coming up with all these crazy little things because you're doing it yourself. You have to invest in it, in doing it yourself and make it fit better for your body. And once you do that, you're busy with it. And once you're busy with it, you're going to be good. And once you're good, you're going to love it. And once you love it, you're going to do it a lot. So you're only going to get better. That's literally the whole concept, the way I attack everything.
I love that. And so as we kind of transition from the fighting, you mentioned this mouth breather apparatus you've created. Was this a product of your childhood dealing with asthma into kind of, I know you talked about the incident with the spirit type thing too, but how did you kind of, like, what's the trial and error to even create something like that with patents and trademarks and stuff like that? Like, it's got to be immense.
Yes, 100%. So I was at a pretty high level track and field already when I was young. I mean, my high jump was 6'8" when I was 17. So I was going really fast. And my long jump, I mean, javelin, shot put, discus, everything, except of course the 400, the 800 and the 1500. Those were hard for me because of my asthma. If I would have an asthma attack for a week, I would restart my track and field, and then I would always break my running times. I go, what's going on? Why is this? And drove me insane. I thought maybe it was the medication I was taking. I had no really clue. And then I went to a doctor because I spent a lot of time at doctor's office, and I saw a drawing of a pair of lungs in a frame on a wall. And as a kid and as an adult and as everybody, we think the lung infection is in your lungs. It's not. The lung infection is in the airways that go to your lungs. And it showed a healthy airway and it showed an infected airway. That was the idea. I go, oh, I've been pulling air in with resistance. I've been training my lungs, because at the time I thought my lungs were doing the work. Unknowingly, I've been working out my lungs really hard. So then when the infection is gone, it's open again. Oh, it's much easier for me to breathe. That's right. So I got to come up. So I got a washer, bolts and nuts, all that stuff. And I start putting it in front of my teeth and try to breathe in through the little tiny holes. Super dangerous. Don't do that, because if it shoots in your lung, you're freaking dead, you know. But that was, I still have one on my keychain, a washer, because that was the original O2 trainer idea. And so why don't I come up with something where I can control the air intake? That was literally my idea, so I can work out my lungs. And I thought at the time your lungs were doing the work. Your lungs don't do anything. There's no muscle in a lung. They're just two bags. The only way for your lungs to open is by chest expansion. And if you expand your chest, it creates a vacuum between your body and your lungs, and that vacuum that opens up your lungs. So for the people who don't understand the vacuum, just imagine the lungs being glued to the inside of the body. That's what I always say. It's much easier. If you expand your chest, hey, you open your lungs and you press out. So for inspiratory muscles are your diaphragm and your intercostals, your external intercostals, which are the muscles in between your ribs, right? And for expiratory, it's your obliques, it's your core, and it's your internal intercostal muscle. But I focus on the inspiratory muscles, because that has the most effect. Although it's very important to train both. Simultaneously, don't do that. First do an inspiratory muscle training workout, and then an expiratory, really good. Simultaneously, not good. Read every review out there. Don't do it. So once you start training your breathing muscles, your diaphragm and your intercostals, and by the way, you have 11 pounds of those, you make them stronger. So that's when I start realizing, wait a minute, I need to make this thing. So then I made it, and I started training with it. And know this, every workout, every fight that I had in my life, after 2 minutes of working out, I have to spray my lungs open with an inhaler because I still had that asthma. I trained 3 weeks, maybe 3.5 weeks with the O2 trainer. My asthma was gone. I go, okay, I'm going to call my buddy. I sent one to Holland, his asthma, but I didn't tell him. I said, start using this, see how you feel. 8 days later, calls me, I want to sell him in Holland because my asthma is gone. I go, dude, but we're up to something here. And then I start bringing it to the market, but you're a fighter, people, it's like blonde girls. We get all these stamps, like your jock, your thing, you're probably not smart. So they started attacking me. Other products started attacking me, but I knew I had something. And then I met Dr. Belisa Vranic, and she's a world-renowned breathing expert. Joey Diaz actually set us up, the comedian. And he loves it also, the O2 trainer, because he can do whole workouts now, his class in jiu-jitsu. And she measured my chest expansion when I walked into her office first. And she started laughing, like she said, expand. She goes, oh, that's not possible. Do it again. And then I did it again. And she goes, wait. And she runs out, comes back with another doctor. And I go, what's going on? She goes, well, if I don't bring him, he's not going to believe it. It goes, well, normally somebody breaks the record by 1/8 of an inch. You just almost went 2 inches more than everybody else. It was crazy. Like you can go to a website called The Breathing IQ, and there you can measure your breathing IQ. 100 breathing IQ is good. I had 182. So it was like a bizarre. And by the way, I had that record for a long time. I got beaten by this small lady tuba player. She went over 200. Over 200. That was insane. Yeah, she was with me in the class, and I couldn't believe it. I go like, wow, that's a crazy expansion. So that's when I start making it, and then because she put it in her book, because she realized this expansion comes from his training his breathing muscles. Now people start taking me serious. Then I went on published medical websites, and you push in inspiratory muscle training, and then you realize that every Olympian in the Olympics is doing inspiratory muscle training, every endurance athlete at least. And then you start looking around and you see in the UFC and then all these big organizations, 80, 75% of the guys breathing like I was doing when I was fighting. Dude, 4 to 6 of these breaths is the same as one belly breath. It's a big difference, and then I go into steps and explain to people what it does, because it will get inside your head the most. It did for me. So the first question is, how does your stamina increase, right? Your stamina increase because you train a muscle over and over again. And once you do that, you make it more efficient. It uses less oxygen, and therefore your stamina increases. Good. Okay, what happens when you have metaboreflex, gassing? What happens when you're gassing? This is a funny one. I always explain the same because it's easy to get inside the head. You're running a hill, very steep. Suddenly, boom, you hit a wall, you start gassing. That is your body starts redirecting your oxygenated blood. It steals it away, blood stealing, literally a medical term, steals it away from your legs. Whoa, wait a minute, I'm running a hill. Yeah, but it sends it to your number one priority in the body, your breathing muscles. Because 3-4 minutes without breathing, you die. So they prioritize where the blood is going to go. Those are your breathing muscles. But wait a minute, didn't you say if you train a muscle over and over again, it becomes more efficient? What if I train those 11 pounds of breathing muscles? And that's what this thing is. It's weight training for your breathing muscles. Now I give those more endurance. So now they don't have to steal the blood anymore. Now, instead of gassing here, you're going to start gassing there. You delay it by far. That's why, like I said, always, every endurance athlete in the Olympics is using inspiratory muscle training. You know that there are, how you call them, monks in China, and they sit in a room. They don't do any physical workouts except breathing, not even with resistance. Breathing, 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 breathing. When they come out, and you can look this up, they run 48 hours, 200 miles. Never train their legs. Explain that to me. And then you go, if you want to go into the spiritual world, Well, do you know that breath is the same? Holy Spirit. Spirit is the same word for breath in Latin, in Aramaic, and in Hebrew. I mean, it's the same word. They already knew there was a connection between where we're going and it with complete breathing. That's why you have these crazy guys out there who can control their breath, who can do crazy things, because it makes everything better. Everything with more oxygen. Put it on a flame, see what happens. Put it in a race car. You know, everything with more oxygen will simply perform better. Now, you have to, of course, also know how to breathe then, right?
Right.
You make your breathing muscle stronger, because people go like, boss, but you use this thing through your mouth. I breathe through my nose. Yeah, come. Don't be douche, man. It's like, this is 4 minutes a day. You're not going to unlearn how to breathe. You know, this will train your breathing muscles. So the rest of the 23 hours and 55 minutes of the day, you have to breathe through your nose. Nose breathing is gold. Always do it. Although, what happens if your face gets smashed in? Now you better breathe through your mouth. What if you have a cold and you have a fight or a sport the next day? You're going to have to be breathing through your mouth. This is just working out your breathing muscles. What it does, it makes sure that you can breathe even better in through your nose, because your breathing muscles are stronger. You see? So, but yes, you should always be trying to breathe through your nose. It's just better for everything.
If people want to buy that or check it out, is there a specific website you want to send them to?
Yeah, we have it on o2trainer.com, and then it's on Amazon, O2 Trainer. Just go and then, tap it in. We have the highest ratings on Amazon. I think we have a 4.6 or a 4.7. So we are Amazon's first choice. And for the people at home, you can buy that. This is real. It's not like I give them $20,000 and suddenly I'm that. No. Amazon doesn't work like that. So read those reviews, because there's other products out there. They're very expensive, $350. This thing is $60. And I know it's, you go like special, you're sporting America with it as well. It's made in America. I took it away from China. I saw these camps online with kids and bald kids, because then they can use the hair for wigs, and I got freaked me out. And I go, yeah, I'm not going to support that anymore. I want to support an American company. So they're made in California, actually, right now.
That's awesome. Well, boss, this has been amazing. It's been very fortunate to spend time with you. And before I let you go, what other stuff you got coming on? Any other seminars, classes, any type of new books or stuff coming out that people can be look forward to in the future?
Well, Karate Combat, right? I'm the chairman now of Karate Combat. It's the only full contact karate league in the world. We have Olympian athletes, karatekas, facing each other in full contact matches. And people go like, oh, karate this. Well, Raymond Daniels is a guy that I've been following for a long time. He's a freak. This guy does kicks and combinations that you see in video games. You think there's no way he did that. He jumped up one time to a guy, made a double pirouette, a 720, and then he knocked him out when he landed. And when we asked him, was it supposed to be a hook? He says, no, it was a kick. But in the air, I realized I was going too fast, so I just stripped it. I go, were you also thinking, did I leave the gas stove on? Who does that in a jump up? He just thinks, oh, maybe I'm too close. I'm going to have to do it with a hook. It's the most incredible fighter. Well, he fought Rafael Agaev. Rafael Agaev was his second full contact match. He's a 5-time world champion in point karate, 11-time European champ. They call him the GOAT of karate. And he beat Raymond Daniels, man. And people were freaking out. So that put karate on the map. And now I want to see the rematch, because I know Daniels, he's going to dissect everything in that game. And that's going to be a badass fight when he comes back, because he's a freak of nature, man. He's unbelievable to watch. So I would love to see the fight again. But there you saw, if I would have had to bet my house, I would have put it on Raymond Daniels. I never expected this karateka, who only fought 2 full contact matches, to beat that guy. So that was nice for karate. You see all these karatekas now are doing cross training. It's all combinations. They went start kickboxing on the side, and it's in the pit with 45-degree angle walls that you can use to your advantage. You can run up to it. There's takedowns. You can take somebody down and you can rain down strikes for 5 seconds, ground and pound. I mean, it's very exciting. We already saw a guy picking somebody up, ran up the wall, and then jumped them all the way from the top down. You see, so there's really cool stuff that you can go to karate.com.
It's like the Kumite with Van Damme with Bloodsport.
It's so badass, man. Karate.com. You can find all the information there. You're going to love that show.
And to kind of to your point, again, it just came to me, like, coming out of the pandemic, I thought it was very interesting that something like the Bare Knuckle Boxing League came to fruition, or like now the league you're part of, the karate. It's like it's giving these new organizations that are popping up, giving people a platform with different martial arts backgrounds to kind of showcase what they do. And I think that's just awesome. And now I love UFC. I love Strikeforce and Pride. And I still watch all that stuff late night on ESPN2, all the New Japan Pro Wrestling, like all that stuff. And it's like I love the idea that these new platforms, organizations are out there to kind of give people a chance to a judo Olympian that maybe doesn't want to do UFC or box, but now he can maybe there's a judo league coming he could do, or a Shoryu karate league. Or it's super fascinating. I think it's really cool how this direction of ultimate fighting and fighting in general is going.
Yeah, they changed the whole game, man. We all remember we thought that striking was the tough guys and this, and then freaking Royce Gracie walked in there, 65 kilos, and he starts holding people up. And then you realize, maybe I should learn that. This is great. I have the book, The Tao of Jeet Kune Do from Bruce Lee, right?
Yep.
Big fan, always been. In that book, you have toe holds, inverted heel hooks, knee bars, you name it. He's got everything in that book. And it's what he writes. He said he knew that if he had to face a judo guy, he would lose because he wouldn't know what to do on the ground. So we already started experimenting with all these moves. And when you look at the takedowns, I mean, everything is in the freaking Tao of Jeet Kune Do. It's amazing. This guy was light years ahead. And of course, guys like Gene LeBell, who really put it on the map. Unfortunately, our great Gene left us too soon. But while he had a good full life, that we can say for sure. Yeah. And he was always the light of the party, man. He was a really great guy. I went to his memorial as well. He also is the godfather of mixed martial arts right here in America. And then the guy I'm going to have to give props is Chris Dolman. Chris Dolman is the godfather of mixed martial arts in Holland. He's the guy who invited me to the tryout for Pancrase when I started fighting in Japan. I had to face one of his guys there that were scouting. And the guy went really hard to me, and I told him to tone it down. They just want to see technique, and he kept going. I go, dude, I'm okay, but I'm going to do it back, right? You understand that? So I knocked him out with a high kick, and that was it. The two Japanese fighters, Suzuki and Funaki, were there, and they were pointing at me. He said, we won him. And freaking September 21st, 1993, my friend. That's a long time ago. That's almost 30 years ago. I was fighting in Japan. Wow. Life can go crazy direction. I had zero direction in life. And then suddenly I'm in Japan and I'm talking to you and I'm doing these crazy things. I'm living in America. It's been a crazy journey, man. I'm so happy with everything that worked and also the products that I endorsed. You know, I always made sure that it was not a bad product. There's not one bad product that people can say, oh, don't get it from him, because I lost a lot of money because of it. Mouthpieces, they offered me a lot of money for those, but I didn't believe in them because they had a little opening in the middle. I go, that's dangerous. You need to clench your jaw. And sure enough, I was right. Like 6 months later, they took it out of business. So thankfully, I made those good decisions, and I wasn't always looking for the money. I never did that. Yeah. You know, a lot of people don't have that foresight. They see the big money right now, but they don't know what it can do. It can really destroy you because if I come out with a bad product, then the next time they're going to go, if I try to sell another product, they're going to go, yeah, what the last thing sucked. You see, I lose the power, but everything is good. At least you have that.
No, and I appreciate you sharing your story. And every time you're on a podcast or doing your thing, I always check it out. And I implore everyone else to do the same as well. And I appreciate your time today, boss.
You're very welcome, my friend.
Thanks, sir.
Freaking awesome. Spear talk.
Oh, hello. I'm just enjoying this nice fucking candle. Anyways, I'm John, the host of Spear Talk, and I want to talk to you about nice fucking candles. We are lucky to have Nice Fucking Candles as a sponsor of the podcast. And if you use code SpearTalk15, you get 15% off your first order, or use the affiliate link below to always get your candle needs through Nice Fucking Candles. Nice Fucking Candles are 100% soy wax. They have a 65-hour burn time, maybe more if you nurse the flame a little bit. Maybe, I don't know, I'm not an expert on flames or candles, but I will say these things burn a long fucking time. You ask me about the wick. It's a double wick for even burning, which is amazing. And they come in 3 incredible flavors. I'm not sure if you're going to be eating these candles, but if you do like them, the scents are eucalyptus and ginseng, tobacco and fireside, and seaside and driftwood. Once again, Nice Fucking Candles. They are the candle company for Spear Talk. And if you love candles and need a good scent to clear out your office, your room, your podcast room, your weight room, whatever you're doing in a room that smells like crap, use this candle. It's amazing. Thank you. Check them out. Love nice fucking candles.